Good evening, bonsoir, buonasera. My piece is called Legends, Legendi. Once upon an endless night, I dreamed of telling you a story, of pleating you a tale out of my breath and carving it into your flesh with my hair. And since the story could be my last, I wanted it to be a perfect story, not perfect in execution, but perfect only in intent. The stories my mother told were always too frightening for us. She worried, my mother did, that I would remember too much. I worry, I do for you, that you will forget. Forget nights of women with wings of flames who want to draw you out of your bed and make you into a star. A lovely thing to be a star, but stars, they are too far from us, like New York to Port-au-Prince, or even Roma to Port-au-Prince. Nights of galipot, 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 or three-legged horses riding at full speed to either snatch or rescue children who had lost their way. But lost their way from what, you ask? From their country, I say. And what of the children who had no way to lose? And what of the children who had no country? Then the three-legged horses would not want them, I say, because what comes too easy, nobody wants. What comes too easy does not make legends. Nobody is outright handed a pot of gold. We must cross forest, jungle, oceans, unearth the tail end of rainbows. We must vine our hair out of window panes and sleep 100 years. And what if the sleeping beauty never awakens with her secret? That, ma chère, we would call death. In our legends, we are beautiful first. A charmed vision comes to claim us. We go off to the enchanted land. Then we find out that the vision had only borrowed its face. Still, we are not foolish enough to lie 100 years and wait. Even if they say we are zombies, even if they say we have powders that keep the dead beneath the ground until they jolt awake. And what was that girl, that sleeping beauty, dear one, if not a zombie? And what was it that gave her freedom from the sleeping sickness, if not the taste of salt on the prince's lips? Let no one tell you that it was the man's breath itself. Everyone knows, or Mama knows, that it was the salt. It is always the salt that wakes the dead and frightens the three-legged horses and brings the children home. Once, while pedaling at a sewing machine under a fan blowing dust balls into my face in a crowded castle called a sweatshop, I dreamed of telling you a story. Not like the stories my father told of land invasions and foreign masters, of the Makuts and their timid eyes, which they hid behind X-ray glasses. In my childhood, the Makuts were legends, breeders of night soil who came with their knapsacks for children who did not do as they were told. In your childhood, the Makuts were soldiers, transformed by the fears of a madman whose own mother must have told him to listen in the night for the machete scraping the palmetto so he might stay inside. A man who may have watched as the Marines had come to our shores, and as if, Saint Rose de Lima, please pray for us, as if the consternation of our nights were not deformed enough. Now there are breeders of night soil to frighten the adults too, gunboats to replace the knapsacks, bullets to succeed the machetes, and your grandfather who died in a chain gang chiseling a song with his fist. Tandem, tandem, konem, konem, tandem, tandem. Listen to me, listen to me. We must not sleep another 100 years and wait for them to come and kiss our lips. Their kisses are not gentle. They kiss you with their boots over there. And when you awaken, then what? Kisa, then what? And this is why these stories I dream for you are more yours than mine. One day there might be time for you to ponder these questions from some office castle or some university tower. Do not forget the three-legged horses. Do not forget the night women and their wings. Do not forget the children lost to the night stars. Do not forget those we have left behind. Mothers who, even if they are standing over them, are still carving stories into their daughters' dreams. Stories that they might never be able to tell them, that they might be ashamed to tell anyone. Stories that one day they will need interpreters for. Stories that you will only acknowledge at last when you read them in a book. My mother's favorite story, an ancient one, 100 years ancient, of a French general, once master of the colony, who gave a massive ball for all the colored women of the capital whose men had been called away. It was the first ball anyone knew where so many colored women came, curious by the general's sudden interest in their joy. At midnight, the dancing stops, and the French general comes, and soldiers dressed in cassocks part a red velvet curtain and begin chanting a mass for the dead. Liberame Domine, liberame Domine. And behind the red velvet curtains are rows and rows of coffins, and the French general names them each one by one to tell the women, "Regard, you thought you had been dancing the solo minuet, when really you were dancing all this time with your dead men."